Celtics did it. The Celtics actually did it. They won against Philly. Now, I know that a lot of people were going to say, oh, they were supposed to win from the start. They were the favorites. They're the favorites for the championship. But let's be real. The Celtics have looked streaky throughout this entire playoffs. In my opinion, it's because of coaching. I think Joe Mazzulla is not that good of a coach. I think they said that he runs really whatever offense and he plays the game like it's 2K, which causes a lot of the times where you just see them either feeding the ball to Tatum or Brown and just letting them do whatever they want. And sometimes you need more complex offensive plays to actually win games. But I will say that this match, the Celtics figured it out. It was just a matter of time until everything clicked for the Celtics, as for most games of this series, it had looked like the Celtics were just, they would have a great game, then they would have a not so great game, and then whatever, and they would go back and forth. Like last game, they played like trash up until the fourth quarter, right? They played just well enough to get themselves into the fourth quarter, and then Jayson Tatum scored 16 points straight, right? So it was like, it seemed like that for most of the series they were streaky. They had some tough losses. They got beat a lot. Like they got 2 game winners hit on them by James Harden, a player who I'm going to talk about. But this game, it seemed like the epitome of Boston. Their shooters were hitting their shots. Their 3-point percentage was 45%. Their field goal percentage was 47%, and we know that Boston struggles to hit like middies and stuff like that. They're not really that great of a mid-range shooting team. And I do want to say that the Jays are here to stay. A lot of people want to break them up, but now it's official. They made the conference finals now, so that means that they're going to go up against Miami. And Jaylen Brown made All-NBA, which means that he could get his contract extension that he wants. So for most of the future, then the Jays should stay together, right? Then that's probably the duo of the future, unless they want to blow it up and get a big man. But for right now, the Celtics look phenomenal. I liked how they had, for a lot of the first half, Robert Williams dribbling up the floor and forced Embiid to come up, and it made a lot of easy offense for them, right? Also, I like how Al Horford was not treated as as an offensive player, which I liked a lot. And I know that seems tough to say, but they would just it's like on offense, put him in a corner, but on defense, you got to lock up Embiid. And it worked, right? But I'll get to the Sixers right now. Marcus Smart played a great game. I know it doesn't show it really in the stats, but if you look at his plus minus, it's 31. The only person who has it higher than him in his team is Tatum, right? But he played a great game. He was just always there. He was making the right passes, and it was just one of those games where he didn't need to do all that much because Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown were just doing all of that. Then Jaylen Brown played a phenomenal game. He was hitting big shots. He was not taking dumb ones. He hit all of his free throws, and he played a great defensive game, just like Al Horford. I feel like that was the best thing about this game, apart from the next thing I'm going to talk about. But the second best thing about this game was their defense. And if we look at defensive stats, then we could see that they forced Philly to have 12 turnovers, but Boston only had 7 turnovers. Also, Boston had 43 rebounds, and they had the same amount of offensive rebounds in 7. And they had more steals and the same amount of blocks, Boston. So they beat them in most categories. They had less fouls, and they took more shots. They took those more shots more efficiently, right, except from 3. And their free throw percentage, they got to the line just as much as Philly, even though they didn't make them that much. Also, they passed more. So in every single category, they really beat them out. But what really shined this game, and obviously this is what I'm going to talk about, Jayson Tatum is a superstar. I know that I made a video the other day where I said that I don't know if he could be, but I think this game just shows the epitome of that Jayson Tatum can do it. This game, 51 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 70 for 28 from the field, which is 60%, and he shot 60% from 3. Meanwhile, in the last game, he scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. This man is a superstar. He broke the record for most points in a game 7 in NBA history. Meanwhile, he had a double-double, and he played a very efficient game, having a plus-minus of 33. He had 2 steals, and he only had 1 foul with 0 turnovers. Jayson Tatum is him. We have to give him his respect. Even if they don't win the championship, we could say that this team is not suffering because of him. And this game is the epitome of stars show out when you need them the most. And I believe that Jayson Tatum has been everything, has been exceptional, and he's been consistent when it comes to just leading this team to the highest degree when they need him. So with that being said, I want to talk about Philly now. The biggest problem with Philly was the way that they just turned off. In the first half, they were playing gritty. They looked loose. They looked very confident. They looked like they thought that they were winning the game. And that was good up until when the second quarter came around, right? We saw that it's like they lost all of their confidence, right? In the first quarter, they were shooting great. They were tied 55 and 55. I'm pretty sure going at the first few minutes of the third. But that all changed when they just lost their confidence. James Harden had a terrible game. He shot 3 for 11 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 5 turnovers. He was basically everything that Jayson Tatum did. He did the opposite of that. He had no points, he had half the rebounds, and he had a good amount of assists, but he did all of that with horrible turnovers and a minus 30 plus minus. I also want to say shout out to Tobias Harris, because even though he lost this game, in my opinion, if you actually watch the game, for a lot of that first half and for a lot of this game, he was the best player in Philly. And I believe that we need to give Tobias Harris some applauses and some praise, because even though he got so much scrutiny because of Jimmy Butler, because of Philly not giving him too much money, even though he barely did anything, and because he has been a notorious playoff choker for his entire career, I do believe that this playoff run, shooting 40% from 3, 52% from the field, and meanwhile averaging 14 points, 7 rebounds, meanwhile having half a steal and half a block, I do believe that he's played some great basketball, right? For the role that he has. He was crucial to the Nets' first series, and also he's been crucial to this team, and I do believe that we have to give him some praise. PJ Tucker played great for the first quarter. Second quarter, played great. Third quarter, trash. I like PJ Tucker, and I like how he's playing this game. He was hustling, he was playing well, and he was hitting his shots. But why did he turn off so fast? Why did they stop giving him the ball? If he was hot, he shot 50% from 3 and 60% from the field. Why didn't they feed him more? He's been the game changer for you in some games. And then that's if they stop giving the ball to Tatum in this game. Why if there's a player who's making their shots consistently, are we not giving them the ball? I want to say DeAnthony Melton sucked. Even though he was hustling a lot, he sucked. And Tyrese Maxey, honestly, he just looked like he was doing whatever he could out there. It's not even to excuse him, but for a lot of the time, he had to go up against extremely tough layups, extremely tough defense. And sometimes it just seemed like he just shot a 3 just because the time was getting low and there was no strategy. Lastly, I want to talk about the 2 main catalysts for Philly's loss, which are Doc Rivers, which all that I want to say about him is fire him. I like Doc Rivers, but he would be much better on another team. This team needs a real coach. They need a guy like Monty Williams who could bring in a system, who could keep everyone level-headed, and who could actually lead this team and draw a place for this team so this team doesn't suffer like they're suffering now. And second, I want to talk about Joel Embiid. He played 38 minutes. 38 minutes. Played 38 minutes. Right? You heard me. He scored 15 points, 8 rebounds. I want you to hear me out. Jayson Tatum had 13, Al Horford had 10. You're 7'1", like almost 300 pounds. 8 rebounds, 1 assist. He shot 5 for 18 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, and 5 of 6. He was playing phenomenally at the start of the game, and he had 4 turnovers. I just want to say that he needs to step up. Embiid is the MVP of the league, and we need to hold him as such. When Jokic couldn't win, right, we made excuses for him. But then when those excuses were over, when his team came back, he delivered, right? When Giannis couldn't win and he won the MVP, we made excuses for him, which was, oh, his team is not really built for him to win. But then when they actually built a team which was good enough to win, you know what Giannis did? He won the championship. Jokic, conference finals, and may win the championship this year, right? And we could keep going. With Steph, that happened where he won it in 2015, and people were like, did he really deserve it? And then he won the championship, and then now he has 4 championships. And it's happened with a lot of these MVPs. And when you are the MVP of the league, you are held to a certain standard, and in my opinion, Joel Embiid needs to be held to this standard now. He is not that guy who was battling for the MVP, putting up really good stats on a team which everyone knew couldn't win. Now you have a secondary star, you have depth, and you have players which actually can come up in big moments, and you have an offense which is built around your skill set. And if you can't deliver, then I don't know if he should have his own team as the primary star. Maybe build a super team. But yeah, Joel Embiid was extremely disappointing.